Hi everyone, welcome back to Once Upon a Mic
and Tales Unfolded.
I'm Cha, and of course, here my very sweet and caring best friend.
Hi, welcome. Thank you, Cha. I am Pat. And today we're diving into some of the most iconic and beloved stories from all around the world. Imagine that. Magic, adventure, and lessons that have lasted for centuries. Ano ba yun?
Yes, we'll be talking about stories from all corners of the globe. Wow, parang Miss Universe is! From the magical tales of 1001 Nights to the eerie Grimm's fairy tales, the heartwarming Disney fairy tales, and the whimsical Alice in Wonderland.
And eto na nga, we've got a lot to unpack eh. And so today, buckled up, because this is gonna be a wild ride. Ano ba yung mga pagkakwentuhan natin? Uuhaw tuloy ako.
Yes, uminom kami milk tea tayo dyan.
Mamaya. O go, ano bang uunahin kasi natin?
Okay sis, so ang uunahin natin ang medyo mystical. Let's talk about 1001 Nights.
Ay, gusto ko yan.
Or as we all know it, Arabian Nights. It's a collection of tales na mula pa noong 9th century. And let me tell you, these stories are full of magic, romance, and wisdom.
The stories were passed down from the generations of storytellers. Tapos, isinulat nila yung mga stories na yun later on. And one of the most and famous stories from these collections is the story of Charlize.
Wow!
Na nagtutuloy ng kwento sa isang King Shahryar every night.
Okay.
Para hindi siya mapatay.
Kaya pala 1001 Night. Kumbaga every night kailangan niyang magkwento and bawat kwento may different kind of
Yes, may
genre,
cliffhanger.
no? Tama. Hindi siya nakakatulog kung wala siyang bagong kwento, tama? It's like the first ever being worthy series, pero real life.
Real life. The stories na iniwan ni Shahrazad are so magical. From Aladdin and his genie lamp to the brave Sinbad and the famous Alibaba. Kung alam mo yun.
Alam
And
ko
the
yung
40
Alibaba.
Yeah, and the 40 Thieves. This collections is full of ironic adventure na hanggang ngayon, it's still being retold by different ways.
Oh my. These tales are more than just about magic. True, they about faith, wisdom, and consequences of our choices.
And now, let's shift the gears and head over to Germany. Ano ba itong pagkikwentuhan natin na to? Let's talk about the Grimm's fairy tales. Yung mga kwento na siguro kahit bata ka, narinig mo na.
Oo, tama sis. Yeah. These are the stories from Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm, who collected German folktales. Pero, here's the twist. These stories were way darker compared to the fairy tales we know. And then, there's moral of the story. Good always triumphs over evil. I remember na, syempre yung Grimms na alam ko dito is, ang sample ko dito yung sa Snow White. Sobrang evil siya kasi ang sabi 'di ba na si Snow White is nagising siya kasi naalog ng mga dwarfs yung niya, coffin niya. So doon siya nagising habang binubuhat na dapat ililibing na siya, and then doon nagising siya. What about sa Disney?
So Disney, more on siya, very childlike stories. Anong favorite mo na Disney stories para?
Ang favorite Disney story ko is yung Descendants. Andito yung, kilala mo naman 'di ba si Maleficent.
Oo.
So matataray sila, mga evil sila. Pero this time, yung mga anak nila, yun yung mga bida. Pero mababait yung anak nila na pinagbibidahan ni Mal.
Okay.
Yan, dahil ang mami niya is si Maleficent. So yung anak niyang si Mal, gumagawa siya ng mga mabuti. Sa Grimms, makikita natin yung si Snow White. This time, yung anak niya dito, mabuti talaga.
Mabait.
So, mabait. So, ang kwento nito is si Mal and 4 silang bida. So, dahil nga masasama, mga evil yung magulang nila before, parang ang gusto ng mga magulang nila, maging masama sila sa isang school. But, dahil mabubuti silang anak, nilabanan nila yung mga magulang nila na hindi kami ganito, hindi kami susunod sa yapak nyo na masama kayo. This time, gagawin namin yung kabutihan. Ang moral story is, habang lumalaki tayo, nakikita natin kung ano yung tama at saka dapat natin gawin. Kung kaya natin ituwid yung sarili natin ng tayo lang, 'di ba? Kahit na maraming tao yung minamali tayo, kahit na pamilya pa natin yung ginagawang masama tayo.
For sure, Disney took these classic tales and made them family friendly, diba? Full of
Yes.
color, full of life, full of lessons and optimistic. So, sa Disney version, sure, there's an antagonist talaga.
Yes,
Pero,
meron.
at the end of the day, love, kindness, and perseverance were always winning, diba?
Yes, talagang may wisdom. So, alam mo ba yung Alice Adventures in Wonderland?
Oo.
Favorite ko yan, talaga. Okay? We have something super quickly and strange. So, alam mo ba yung Alice in Wonderland na adventure niya
Oo.
by Lewis
Carol.
Carroll.
Oo.
The ones filled with nonsense
Riddles.
and logic that doesn't make sense, but in fun way.
Oh. Alice falls down. Ito na nga yung kwento. Alice falls down a rabbit hole and ends up in a bazaar and wonderful full of weird creatures. Imagine mo yun, napunta ka na kung saan-saan. And it's all about questioning authority and challenging the rules of society. Yun eh.
Alice is trying to make sense of everything around her. It's perfect mix of adventure and philosophical questions, like what is the real meaning of life?
It's funny because it's not your typical fairy tale eh. It's a wild ride of challenges and thinking while still having fun. Relatable siya sa childhood ng bawat
Yes,
bata
tama.
talaga.
Nung bata ako, maraming challenges, maraming
Mm-mm.
adventures, pero habang lumalaki ka, lahat yun natutunan mo.
Mm-mm.
And lahat yun, parang in one day, nakita mo na meron lesson sa life. Kung bakit ko tinahak to, marami pala akong natutunan sa adventure na yun.
Na hindi mo alam na may mga sense pala tong adventure na to. Kahit
Oo.
at that time mukha siyang, ano ba to? Ano ba ang mga nangyayari sa buhay-buhay?
Yes. Last but not the least, we have none of the most profound stories ever written. Ito ay The Little Prince by Anton de Saint-Exupéry. This is a tale that transcends age. Guys, whether you're a child or an adult, you learn something new about life, love, and the importance of human connections.
Oh, so true, ah. The little prince travels from one planet to another. Bongga siya.
Traveler?
Traveler ang atake niya. So, dito, he meets a dude who have lost their sense of wonder. So, in the process, he teaches us valuable lessons about innocence, love, and things that truly matter in life. What is essential is invisible
Visible to the eye. Really hits hard, diba?
Oo.
It reminds us that the most important things in life can't be seen, but felt like love, friendship, and kindness.
According to
Wikipedia.
And who could forget the fox when he says you become responsible forever for what you've tamed?
Yes, alam mo ba yung masasabi ko kasi sa Little Prince, yung connections and love.
So it's about care.
Yes.
friendship. It's just
The connections.
hindi lang siya romantic love or whatever.
Yeah,
It's
iba,
beyond-
kakaiba tong Little Prince. These tales have stood the test of time because they speak to the heart and they filled with lessons that never get old.
What about mag-time travel tayo in a way of storytelling din? Like, ikaw ba as a kid, nag-enjoy ka ba kakapanood ng mga Disney or kakabasa ng mga kung ano-ano?
Ako kasi nung bata ako, but Gusto ko talaga yung nanonood
Mm.
ng mga Disney. Lalo na yung Ariel,
Ay, oo.
Cinderella. Talagang kahit na alam ko na yung story na yan, gusto ko kinabukasan manonood pa rin ako
Oo,
niya.
against all odds.
Sobrang dami rin, ang dami rin nilang adventure, lalo na yung
Mm.
niloko sila, di ba?
Oo. Kahit saan ka mapadpad, wala kang choice kundi labanan kung ano yung mga obstacles na mamimit mo along the way. Kwento natin sa A Little Prince and yung
The Little Prince.
The Little Prince and yung sa Great Gatsby. Magandang kwento yon. Ipapakita na naman sa inyo.
Fun facts about 1001 Nights. The collection contains over 1,000 stories, but only 200 to 300 of them are commonly known today. The story of Aladdin was not originally part of the Arabian Nights, but was added by French translator Anton Galland in the early 18th century. Tales are thought to have been influenced by the story traditions of ancient India, Persia, and Arabia. The set's clever storytelling is often considered a symbol of intelligence, wit, and perseverance.
For the Grimm's fairy tales, the Grimm's original stories were often much darker and more violent than the sanitized versions we know today. For example, in the original Cinderella, the ugly stepsisters cut off parts of their feet to fit into the glass slipper. The tales were originally written in German and intended for adult readers, not children. The Grimm stories are believed to have influenced many of today's popular fantasy tales, including works like The Lord of the Rings. The brothers Grimm were also linguists, and their work helped preserve Germanic folklore and even contributed to the development of the German language.
And Disney fairy tales, Disney's Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, was the first ever full-length animated features film and was released in 1937. This version of Cinderella 1950 helped popularize the modern image of the fairy tale princess, influencing many future princesses, characters like Aurora, Sleeping Beauty, and Belle, Beauty and the Beast. Walt Disney himself was deeply involved in the development of many early Disney adaptations, providing input on voice, acting, animation, and even song lyrics. Disney's Little Mermaid in 1989 marked the beginning of the Disney Renaissance, which brought back to the success of animated films in the 1990s.
Now we have The Alice Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. Fun fact, Lewis Carroll was actually a mathematician and logician, and many of the absurdities in Alice in Wonderland can be traced to his interest in logic and paradoxes. The characters of Cheshire Cat was inspired by a cat named Doll, who belonged to Carroll's friend, and the idea of the cat grinning came from praise that was popular in Cheshire, England at that time. The book was written as a story for Alice Liddell, a young daughter of friend of Carroll's during the boat trip in 1962. For Adventures of Hackelberry, Finn by Mark Twain.
For book compilation, first published in 1884.
For biographies and authors, Mark Twain, Samuel Langhorne Clemens was an American author and humorist.
For publications, the novel was first published in 1884 in the US.
And the history set in the pre-Civil War South. Hackelberry Finn critiques the social norms of the time, especially regarding race and slavery.
For the overview, the story follows Huck Finn as he escapes his abusive father and embarks on a journey down the Mississippi River with Jim, a runaway slave.
Now, let's meet the characters. Huck Finn, Jim, Tom Sawyer, the Duke, and the Doppin.
And for the characteristics, satirical, critical of social issues, adventurous.
And now for this theme, there are freedom, morality, racism, friendship, and social norms.
For the settings, the Mississippi River, small towns in the southern United States.
And for the plot, Hack and Jim journey down the river, meeting a series of colorful characteristics and facing moral dilemmas.
And for the synopsis of Hackelberry, Hack Finn's adventures highlight the moral and societal questions surrounding race and freedom as he helps Jim escape slavery, despite the prevailing social norms.
Now let's go to The Little Prince by Anton de Saint-Exupéry.
For book compilation first published in 1943.
For biography and authors, Anton de Saint-Exupéry was a French writer and aviator.
For the publications, published in 1943, the book has been translated into over 250 languages.
And we have the history, written while Saint-Exupéry was living in New York during World War II. It reflects his feeling of loneliness and the human condition.
And for the overview, a young prince from another planet explores Earth and learns about life, love, and loss.
For the characters, we have the little prince, the fox, the rose, and the pilot.
And for the characteristics, philosophical, poetry, allegorical.
Down to theme wherein innocence, love, loss, and the importance of seeing with the heart is seen.
For the settings, the little prince, tiny planet, Earth, and various planets he visits.
For the plot, the little prince meets the various adults who have lost their sense of wonder. He learns lessons about love and the value of personal connections.
And for the synopsis, the little prince travels through space, learning valuable life lessons from the people he meets, and ultimately realizing the importance of love and personal bonds.
Now we have The Great Gatsby by Scott Fitzgerald.
For the book compilation published in 1920.
For biography and authors, Scott Fitzgerald was an American novelist widely regarded for his portrayal by the Jazz Age.
For publications, the novel was first published in 1925 and is considered a masterpiece of American literature.
So now we have the history. The novel critiques the American dream and the societal appeal during the 1920s.
For the overview, set during the Roaring Twenties, it follows the life of Great Gatsby and his obsession with Daisy Buchanan.
Now let's meet the characters. Great Gatsby, Daisy Buchanan, Nick Carraway, and Tom Buchanan.
For the characteristics, glamorous, tragic, and focus on wealth and social class.
And with the theme, the American dream, love, obsession, class disparity, and the illusion of happiness.
For the settings, New York, Long Island, East Egg, and West Egg.
And for the plot, Gatsby throws lavish parties in hopes of reuniting with Daisy, but his obsessions with her leads to his downfall.
And for the last synopsis, the story of Great Gatsby, tragic pursuit of love and wealth, serve as a critic of the American dream. The narrative explores the complexities of love, identity, and class through the eyes of narrator Nick Carraway.
And there you have it! A quick trip around the world through some of the most iconic stories in history.